Good morning, Zachariah Jackson, BASA News. Wow, I'm happy to be in the community of Newark. Just in a few hours, I'll be interviewing ex-mayor Sharp James, a master politician. I'm calling him that, and I read his book. If you can purchase this book, A Sharp View. If anyone is interested in politics, young or old or whatever, I believe that this book here is Politics 101. It's a great read. I've read it twice, and I'm going to read it one more time. Okay. So today I'm in the South Ward.
Yes.
Talking to Christina Cherry.
Yes, sir.
Who ran for city council just a few months ago.
Yes, last year.
Last year?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a year. So Christina, what would you after losing, I hear that your motivation hasn't stopped, that you are still working as hard as you were before the campaign, that you're diligent about your community, which is, I've interviewed many people, and normally after they lose, they go running.
They're gone behind the scenes.
I, as a reporter, even begged them to stay on because one day, you know. You never know, but they run, man.
Right. Right. I mean,
oh my God. Some of them roller skating, some of them playing out.
Some of them just go ghost completely.
Yeah, go ghost, without a doubt.
No, yeah, absolutely. I said this before the campaign. I said that even win, lose, or draw, that I was still going to continue the work that I was doing. Past this, it wasn't about politics. Even at the beginning, this didn't start with politics for me.
Where did it start?
It started with the community. It started with the abandoned house next door that's now beautiful, dealing with my own issues in the community. And so I realized that we just didn't have, I personally thought we didn't have a voice for my generation. And after dealing with these abandoned properties and figuring out who's who, my first interaction with City Hall, this has been something that I'm like, wow, no one looks like me. No one is talking about the things that I need to talk about.
That's right.
And so finally it was just like, people started calling me the councilwoman. And I'm like, they're like, are you running? And I'm like, for what? I'm like, for city council. So fast forward, the work here in this community was important, and so was having a voice. And I wanted to give our generation that is not involved. They're not.
Now let me interject this here.
Sure.
Are you considered Generation X?
I might, because I'm 35.
Okay.
I don't, maybe, yeah.
I don't
even know.
I've heard
Yeah. I think I might be. Don't quote me on that. But I felt that once everything was said and done, it was important to still continue to be consistent.
Sure.
And so I ran a campaign with no campaign manager. We had a skeleton crew.
Wow.
We did pretty good for someone who was never in politics before then. And now it's like, let's keep on doing what we need to do.
Well, Tiger Woods' father once said to him, I guess said many more times after different trials and tribulations, what have you learned?
What have I learned? That you don't need permission to do the right thing.
Wow. That's heavy.
And you don't. And so many people tell me, didn't they tell you it wasn't your time? And I said, I didn't ask permission for my time. I saw a need, I filled a void, and I did it. And to be honest, to be the first of my family, to be the first to be involved in any of this arena.
Sure.
I was like, I'm walking into that room like I own it. And who's going to check me?
That's true.
And so, yeah.
Well, God chooses people, certain people have certain drives, and can you reach back to your family for motivation because maybe your drive is so far out there that they don't even see it?
Unfortunately, I was an emancipated minor.
Okay.
So I've been on my own for many of years, since 16. I was homeless at a young age. Unfortunately, my lifestyle didn't coincide with what they had in mind for me, growing up in a Hispanic household. I'm, Dominican, Puerto Rican, they force certain beliefs on you. And clearly I'm not the one who's gonna bend over and take that. And so, having gone through so much trauma at a very young age, I realized that I had people in, let's just say, where I used to live at, SEO Family Services, or Ali Fournier. They were the family that were just like, we want to see you do better. And I realized that I wanted to be me for other people in my generation. And me doing what I'm doing now, whether it's my nonprofit, this has been a dream since I was 17. Wow. I'm only now making that happen, right? When I was 17 years old, right? And so when I was 17 years old, in that last shelter, the shelter system, and I left to the Navy, I'm like, when I turn 25, I want to finish school, and I don't know what kind of crazy goals I had. They sound insane then. And so, and I know we're talking about the support, but just thinking about these goals, a lot of things set me back, but I feel like I'm on path to where I need to go based on my history, where I wanted to do, and I'm just living that truth.
Well, everyone I talk to about you have high hopes for you.
Oh, okay.
A good many,
Really?
When we report, we just, we talk to you on the telephone, but we talk to other people also.
Right, okay.
And everyone have high hopes for you, and things of that nature, And you said that you served?
Yes.
Oh, how many years did you do?
I didn't finish my full term.
Okay.
I had issues with Don't Ask, Don't Tell in that time.
Sure.
And so I didn't finish my full term, but my dream was to finish and do my 20 years. But, God had other plans, and if it wasn't for those trials, then I wouldn't be here today to do the work that I'm doing.
Sure. Well, everything is building blocks.
No, absolutely. Yeah. But yes, I was in the Navy. I was a logistics specialist.
So you was on ships and
never
on the ship.
Nope, I was a CB.
Okay.
So a
CB. Now what CB is?
A CB is a special part of the Navy that does disaster relief.
Oh, okay.
So we are like first on site. Whenever Katrina happened, Haiti, we're flown there. We are the construction part of the we're the construction part of the Navy.
Have you ever been on a ship or whatever?
I trained. I had to train to be on one.
Okay.
But I never
the ship you were on, or do you remember?
No, because. And I know it sounds really weird. Like, you were in the Navy. Nope, did not. That just wasn't.
Well, there's different faucets in
absolutely.
So
we were attached with the Marines.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But shortly after the Navy, unfortunately, again, life happens, and people always look at me like, oh, she probably had this amazing life. And no, I was homeless after the Navy again, trying to pick up the pieces. I had $50 in a car, and I left Virginia and drove to New York VA, the Manhattan VA. And I'm like, I don't got nowhere to go. I've tried to find a job. I couldn't find one. And, started living at boarding shelter. People had this passion about this, saw this fire in me and got me a job at the VA hospital.
That's wonderful.
And I started working at the VA in New York. And as a medical support assistant, I wanted to be a doctor at one point. And so, but dealing with working at the VA and being disgusted, that just didn't work out.
Well, a lot in politics and community service is the same too as being a doctor, because you're helping to heal the sick.
Absolutely.
The unwanted.
Yep. And the misunderstood.
And the misunderstood, without a doubt. So, tell us some of the things that you've done in this community. This is the South Ward, is that correct?
Yes.
And let me say this right here. My family has been in Newark, New Jersey 99 years.
Okay.
As of March 23rd, will be 100 years.
Wow.
And I don't really know the South Ward. We come from the Central Ward.
Got it.
So I'm still foreign
Listen,
over
don't
here.
hang me, because they tell me the same thing. You're not from Newark, Miss Cherry. I'm not, but I fight like I'm from here, okay? Home is where you make it, and this is where I made my home.
So you made your home right here in the South Ward.
Yep,
okay.
After, medically retiring from the military, and I came here to the South. When I came here, I'm now first of all, let me backtrack. I'm the president of the South 17th and 18th Street Neighborhood Association.
Okay.
So we have a community neighborhood association. We have from Avon Avenue to Clinton Avenue, from South 17 to 19th Street.
All right.
And that's our whole association area. We have my VP, Patricia, who actually was the founder and she's a longtime, advocate in the community as well. I don't think I'm doing anything different. I'm only helping her pick up the pieces and continue the work. We have done workshops at our garden. When I first...
And where's your garden at?
Oh, it's on South 18th Street and Hopkins.
Okay, one of these days we need to meet when we warm up at the garden to see this thing.
When I came into that garden, they were just in that starting phase. So me being pretty handy, we helped build flower beds. I do workshops. We do farm to table, teaching the community about sustainability, growing your own vegetables.
Yes.
I do jazz in the garden for the elders.
Okay, that's wonderful.
I did Newark Night Out twice.
Now, do you sing or play any instrument?
Oh no, sir. If our life depended on that, we're dying. I'm good at a lot of things, but singing is But I want to bring different things into this community that people in this community won't go out and do. They're not going to Weequahic Park. They're not going to even this park over here on Clinton Avenue. They're not, unfortunately. They don't reach that. So bring it here.
Bring it right here.
And so I've been doing workshops, bringing different things. We did a free piano camp last summer.
A piano camp?
Free piano.
Oh wow.
Keys to Success heard about me. They wanted to bring. They didn't have the program in the South Fork, and they were like, "Can you help find kids?" I said, "Can I?" Absolutely. Can I? And so we were able to provide an 8-week free piano class for the kids in the garden, and do a sensory kind of experience for them as well. And we're hoping to be able to continue that throughout the year. I have a lot of different programs that I would like to put together, like computer literacy for elders.
Sure.
I realize my association are composed of mostly elders, and I realize that that's an issue. When I tell them you got to go on Newark Connect to go report something, they're like, I got to call back in a bit. They said to me, how do you do it? And I want to be able to do this.
Sure.
Seeing how disability is such a big thing in our community and a stigma, we have a lot of autistic children. And so I want to create a sign language program to teach a mom.
That's wonderful. Yes.
As a mom myself, I realize how important these things are, but how hard it is to find them.
Yes.
And working in this community, I'm just starting to get an idea about the things that they need. Throughout COVID, I started a trunk and feed initiative.
A trunk and feed. Oh wow! Okay.
That was an initiative that I started.
That's wonderful.
I connected with, don't quote me, Clinton Hill Black Club Coalition, Miss Ali, and she was able to get me my own portion of HelloFresh and food. And during those 2 years, I would fill up my trunk, and we would start on South 17 and Clinton Avenue, and open my trunk, and during this food disparity, no questions asked. If you needed food, if you saw my trunk open, you could come and I would give you guys food, and families would come, and I would do this every Friday for 2 years.
Wow. And that was a great help during COVID, especially during COVID.
Absolutely.
Because we didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going on. I thought maybe we were attacked by they weren't telling us the truth.
Absolutely.
When you ride down Broad Street and you only call them Broad Street, you start wondering.
When it's Ghost City out there, and you don't know what's happening in these homes. Families were already depending on schools to be able to help, and so it was a lot of different things happening. And so I was just trying to figure out ways to fill that void. And in so many ways, it saved me. Because as a disabled veteran myself, dealing with my own trauma, helping other people got me to get out the house. It really just helped me to develop to become a new person. Because I was supposed to be counted out. That's how I feel. My life, I should have been counted out. And so now
But that's what others might have thought. But the maker didn't think that.
Oh no. And so now I spend all of my free time trying to help the community. And so that was that. I started a nonprofit called the Cherry Foundation. I told you at 17 that was my dream. And I'm building transitional homes for single mothers and for women in the community. I realized that we are, for men, there's everything. And for women, there's less. And I'm telling you, as somebody who navigates that, who has been a part of that system of looking for help. And so it's something that's near and dear to me. And I'm still working on building that. So that's just a few of the things that I've been working on out here in the community.
Well, I've heard good things that once you joined this coalition, I think that at one time they didn't have many people in it, and then you brought so many, you know.
Yeah, we just had a really big meeting. We had about 60 people turn out to my last association meeting. It takes time, right? It takes time to change the narrative in their mind, because a lot of people are so fed up in this community.
Sure.
And so, you know, it's the same message just from a new person.
That's right.
And so, you know, right now they've been coming out. They're seeing what we're doing. We have the complexity of this community now. We have a lot of new renters, a lot of homes coming up. So how do we get them involved in that process? And I think that I changed that stigma. People look at me and they're like, she's young and she's in politics. Yes, I'm so upset that I wasn't a part of this process long before now. So now, you know, just trying to continue the work. And yeah, we had a really good turnout, and we're currently fighting an organization in this community, actually, as we speak, who wants to bring in something that we don't feel comfortable with.
And what is that? Can you speak on it?
I can. So we have a group, I won't say them by name, but they want to bring a substance abuse program into this community.
Don't they have enough of them?
Right across the street. They have one right across the street from it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it went up. The public notice went up, and we didn't get enough advance notice on this. You know, we weren't properly notified, but as we were told recently, they didn't have to.
Sure.
And so once the community found out and saw what it was, it's been an uproar. And that's what caused the community to come out to our last meeting the way that they did, because I invited them.
Sure.
But they want to build a 30-bed substance abuse program right here on 17 and Clinton Avenue. Now, if you are, you know, you said you're in Newark, you know how hot that part of the block is.
Especially during the summer.
Especially during the summer.
Yes, Lord.
And so how are we going to put a substance abuse program, okay, right in the heart of the drug dealing, the prostitution, all of this that's going, how? Right? And so everyone's looking at me like, Miss Cherry, what are you going to do? Well, I don't want that. The community doesn't want that. We don't need that right now. We're trying to keep this residential.
Right. Have you spoke to the city council?
So Pat Council, yes, they came to our last meeting. Pat Council came, Crump came, Councilman Crump, and so the Quintana's office. As per them, they're not in support of it. Okay. And while I respect what they're doing, I'm also a community leader and advocate.
Sure.
And as my organization, we're also going to stand and in solidarity, hopefully, and make sure that this doesn't happen.
Well, isn't there a big place off of Freeland Heights and Avenue, Toller Street or something like that? There's a big place back there.
Methadone.
Yeah, and all that right there. So
I mean, and
I think that would be more of an area because there's no one living around. There's just, factories and things like that right there.
And so, and that's, and funny enough though, and when I see the Dayton area, that Freeland Heights, and when I campaigned in that area, I myself was knocked on every one of those signatures. I knocked on those doors. Okay. And when I went into that area, they were complaining about these methadone clinics that they put up, and how that methadone clinic has now turned the community into something else because of the patients that they're bringing in. Okay. And although they fought it, they still lost, and now they're dealing with the influx of that community. And not saying that that community is a negative in a negative way, but you have homeowners, you have elders, you have people who are invested and
that's been there for years.
Right. And now they're uncomfortable in their own homes, their cars are being vandalized, you know, things are being shot up at record speed. And so, you know, we have to be mindful and strategic about where we're putting these programs and how they affect the community and the stakeholders.
And how many programs need to be in the city of Newark? I mean, shouldn't there be a tariff on how many? Should it, you know, you don't need 1,000 programs, you know what I mean? Like,
you don't, but unfortunately, I work with the detox community. Okay. I know you just saw a gentleman who just left earlier, and he's someone in the community that I know and help, and he's a good guy. I don't know his story, but he just told me he was hungry this morning, so I had food and heated it up and told him he could sit down and have a warm plate.
That's wonderful.
What I understand though is that, or what I feel, or what I've seen is that these programs are taking people in, but they're not successful in transitioning these people out of these situations. Okay, you get what I mean?
You should have repeat.
It's like a repeat. It's like a repeat
it's
thing.
It's like a business.
Right. And that's what it feels like.
Sometimes we wonder.
Right. No, wonder why. We know why they're doing it. They get paid for bed.
Yeah.
You know, they get, and so.
They don't care whether the person healed or not.
Right. I do think
makes you think that.
Right. But I wish that these organizations that are helping are really quantifying how their success.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Like it doesn't matter if you have a transitional home and it's just a home that they come in and leave. Are these people being rehabilitated?
Sure.
Are they being helped and becoming successful people in the community? And I don't see that.
Is there any way that we can measure to see, is there a protocol for this thing? Is there a length of time that we can see whether the person is making progress and how many are making progress and should we even have it, you know?
Right.
If there's not, you know, a great turnout.
Well, I think that, you know, numbers were brought to us, right, by this other organization in regards to like their discharge, their administrative discharge. But have you walked around here? You know, yes, you gotta, what they say, the saying is you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink it. Yeah. But if we're sitting here now bringing people from other places into the very communities that need it, are you being effective?
Yes.
Because now what happens when they have to leave this program because they're not compliant?
Right.
Now we're here and bringing people from other counties, other areas, and you're not even helping the very community that you're in. I
do see people now. I'll say this right here. I'm not so familiar with the South Ward. Okay. But I have driven through it enough to know that I've seen people that don't look like they from the South Ward.
Oh yeah.
So there's a different step and different things that, you know, this person don't look like
he belongs. Right.
No. Where you come from? Who landed him here? And these programs is driving that in here.
Yes, that's what's happening. Yeah. They don't have to, you know, they don't have to keep them. People have to understand that these programs are not obligated to keep them in these programs. If you're not compliant, there's no obligation for them to keep you. But I mean, from what was explained to me from this other organization is that there has to be an administrative and they have to get placed elsewhere. But the point of you coming here is to help this community.
Yes, it's true.
So if you're not helping this very community, you're just using us.
Yes.
Right?
And I'm sure that's happening a great deal. So what? I don't know. Have you ever went down to the city council and spoke? For the 3 minutes that they give you and voice this thing or whatever?
I'm gonna be honest with you. No. I have not gone down to city council. I'm a bit of a rogue community activist in the sense that I try to figure out different alternatives on how to work around things. Do I work with the city council? Absolutely. Do I reach out with them? Absolutely. I think that because I ran against them, there might be the stigma that I'm against them. I'm not. I've played clean my whole election. I made sure that they understood that before and after, we still need to continue working. Everyone has these great ideas. Now, at the end, are you guys going to actually come together and work together and invite us in and say, hey, you had some great ideas, not just jot them down during the debate and then take them. Like, literally, what were you saying? Let's elaborate and let's work on that. But there's also the stigma of we don't want them to get credit for that. And it's unfortunate, but I would like to, I don't know that that's beneficial. I see that these meetings are there and I watch them, I get videos sent to me, and I hear about how frustrated the community is with the not being heard. So do I want to go ahead and spin my wheels doing that when I could be best effective doing exactly what I just did this morning? Or actually making a difference. And I know it might seem a little backwards because I ran for city council, but my point of running was to try to be what we didn't have.
And be more community-based and things like that. And that's what we need in these communities.
Absolutely. So, no, I haven't, but I feel like I reach out. I don't get a whole lot of support per se, but that's fine. You know, I get it where I can get it from. You know, I've had, my Christmas giveaway, actually. We gave away $10,000. I gave away $10,000 on December 8th to the community. Covanta reached out to me. They wanted to do something for Thanksgiving. That didn't happen, but we ended up doing it for Christmas. And they say, hey, we have $10,000. Can you find 100 families?
Wow. That's wonderful. That's
and
wonderful.
I did that with them. I got pushback from community leaders because of their environmental justice issues, which I was not aware about. But guess what? They were one of the first organizations that said, Miss Cherry, here you go. I see what you're doing.
Yes, yes.
I respect what you're doing, and we want to support you.
Well, people are behind you. You know, they definitely are giving great respect for the work that you're doing because it's needed.
Yeah.
And, you know, so many times, as I said, that once a person lose and things of that nature, they just run the other way. But I tell you, some of the greater politicians that we had was those that stayed around, and they knew what they wanted to do.
Right.
And when people feel that in their heart, then they give you the support and they see it. And, that nature.
And I've had great support, you know, from great people in the community and other political figures, which I don't want to name because I don't want anyone to, you know, be supported.
Yes.
But I do feel that they've given me my flowers, right? I remember going to the Leagues of Municipality, not last year, but the year before that.
Sure.
I went behind the ears. They said, Miss Cherry, this is where you need to be. So I went.
Sure.
And so when I went to it, I remember they're like, well, who's this girl? And I'm like, I'm running for city council. And I remembered that year, they laughed at me. And I don't mean laugh, but they were just like, you know, like that snickering.
Yeah. Who is this?
Right. Who's coming in here? She's running, you know. And so then the next year.
She's not connected to nobody.
Right. Everybody's who's supporting you and who's this and who's that.
Sure.
And guess what I said? The next year I came back and people were congratulating me.
Sure.
And so for me, it was just like, all right, like we're in the right direction here, right? And so now it's just trying to figure out, how do I continue to do what I'm doing? How do I also not over-exasperate myself, right?
Sure.
Because this takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work.
But it takes a lot of love on your side
Yes.
to want to do this work. You know,
Yes.
a lot of different, that's a different level of motivation.
Right, oh yes.
You know,
And
to be here and, you know, most folks would be in a community like this, would just live here. But you are actually a part of the fabric that make the community work.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
I do appreciate, you know, you saying that. And it's the truth. And you know, when you do this kind of work, you don't do it for the reciprocity back. You do it for the benefit of the community. And so, but yeah. And so now I'm just trying to figure out, you know, my way while still doing what I can.
Sure.
And figuring out what my next step for me is. Where everyone is the biggest question, are you running again?
Well, I hope, and from what I get from other folks about you, I hope that you would stay the course. Because a lot of people have jumping off the track because their stop didn't come up. And interviewing people, some of these people that jumped off should not have jumped off of the train because their stop was coming, you know, and everything. And in record number, they would land in their position. So I hope that you would stay the course.
No, absolutely. I definitely will.
I feel your passion, and like I said, not only from you, but from people I've talked to about you before I got here.
Okay.
You know, and once I learned that we were going to have the interview, of course, I went out and talked to people, and they told me, you know, that you have a passion for this community, and that's so different, you know, and we need that, you know what I mean? Because, you know.
And I think that people are starting to come around and seeing that because I had a lot of pushback from the very community, community, who were yelling during the debate, you're not from here, go home. And it's just like, where's home for me? You know, home is where you, exactly. And it's like, and so with that being said though, I think that the narrative for people are more receptive, right? Because they're like, okay, she ran, she's still doing it, all right, she's genuine, you know? And so I'm happy that they're getting to see that side and that I'm being received in this way. And consistency is key. You know, if you're not consistent, then that's going to show. And so, you know, trying to do that and being a single mom, you know, just doing what I do and showing my son an example.
Yes.
You know, when I first moved here, I used to have drug dealers. I used to run drugs from right next door to down the street. I'll go outside and I listen. And I'm sure it was dangerous. I probably shouldn't have did it. But as a mom who rented solely to single mothers in situations like myself, you can't have that here. You know? And so now it's just, like I said, just continuing what needs to happen. And for me, like my mentor always says to me, Christina, sometimes you just need to sit and be still. And I think that that's what I'm trying to do now. Sit and be still, observe, and see where I could be best of use.
Sure.
Because I think a lot of us are trying to do a lot of the same thing. And rather than coming collectively together. Sure. So just trying to figure out what's my angle, how I can help others, and that's it.
All right. So as we conclude this interview, is there anything that you would like to say to the public now?
I did want to say thank you. Thank you first and foremost for everyone who did support me during the campaign. It was an amazing experience for me. You know, if you don't already subscribe to my website at ChristinaCherry.org, you can go on there, subscribe, see any future events. I do have my social media, Miss.C.Cherry is my Instagram. You can see more of the work that we're doing. Oh, I didn't mention this.
Right.
Did I tell you I went to Puerto Rico?
I think that what happened was the last time we talked on a telephone, I was trying to interview you, and they said that you were headed to Puerto Rico for this emergency issue that was going on.
Yes, with the hurricane. Yes. So my nonprofit, we sponsored a team, and I'm so sorry. We sponsored a team to go to Puerto Rico, so my family's from there as well.
Okay.
And me.
What town are you from?
They're from Humacao.
Okay.
Humacao, Puerto Rico. And we went out there once the hurricane happened, and we seen the devastation, and I was just like, how could I help? You know, doing the work that I do here is one thing, but I'm somebody who's handy. I know you saw my tools in the hallway.
Yeah. Oh, those are actually
those are my tools.
Oh, okay.
And so, with that being said, I'm like, I wanted to find another local nonprofit who was just like me, grassroots, boots on the ground. And I found Mi Patria.
Okay.
And Sonia Vera, who she's a part of Cookie's team.
Okay.
For the at large, she ran for at large.
Okay.
And so she told me about this organization, and I'm like, I want to get connected. We got connected. Literally 2 weeks it took me. We sponsored a team. It was only ended up being 2 of us because it was so last minute. But we went out there to help rebuild the houses that were destroyed from the hurricane. So I went out there for a week. You know, we worked, first half of the day, we bartered our stay there and helped fix some of the areas for the volunteers. And it was, we took 4 military tactical bags of donations of clothes. And I also met 3 other organizations out there as well who we were able to donate, take masks to. Okay. And it was so fulfilling. They were so grateful.
Yes,
it was such a different. It just really reignited my. I love what I do, and so that was last November that we did that.
It's such a beautiful album. I remember visiting. I believe it was 1991. Okay. And the story I'm going to tell is that I bought these oranges from somebody at the traffic light, and I was able to bring them back. I didn't I think when I landed in Newark at that time, I didn't go through customs or whatever, so I was able to bring oranges back. Well, they didn't look attractive like the Florida oranges. Okay. They, the skin was part brown, this, that, and other, spread it out yellow or whatever, So I let them sit, I say I get around to them. Well, one day, because I love fruit, I'm like a fruitarian, I run out of the regular fruit that I had here. So I said, I got those oranges, let me cut into them. Oh my God. I cut one of them oranges open, and I'm talking about that orange had enough juice to fill an 8-ounce glass in it.
Oh my
God.
Amazing.
God have mercy. And of course I cherry for the Florida oranges, which we in this area mainly grew up on. But I tell you one thing, that orange there was
amazing.
It was amazing. I'm not going to say it was better, but it was amazing.
I get it.
It was a serious orange, a whole bag. Wish I would have bought 2 bags.
No, it's a beautiful island.
Yes,
listen, I know I've been trying to figure out my roots now, honestly, since going back there, learning that my grandfather, great-great-grandfather was a slave, and finding out that the land was given to him by his slave master through his 9 daughters, and now going back there has now made me want to look more into my origins.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Can you imagine
yes.
a 7'2"? My great grandfather, 7'2".
Yeah, wow. Yes. Yes.
Where are you from? Where did he come from? And so, but now I said to myself, you know what? I do so much for this community here, and this is my community. But I want to also give back to my community. And so I went back there. It was amazing. And so
I visited 2 towns.
Okay.
That reflected how I look, which was one was Loquijo, I think I'm saying it right, Loquijo, and Caguas.
Cagua.
You said
That's okay, you got it.
Right.
You got it.
And you know, I found some of the same things that we fight for here.
Right.
I found them the same way. You know,
absolutely.
Pictures of Africa. And
yes. I was told, I mean, I haven't gotten a picture of him yet, but I'm looking for it. And they were just like that. My great-great-great-grandfather could not fit through the doorway because he was 7'2" and dark as my pants. And so when when people are like, oh my God, Miss Cherry, I thought you were black. We all black. We all come from somewhere, right? From Africa. And so, but yeah, so that it was an amazing experience, and I look forward to being able to do that and partner with more grassroots people who are what I call boots on the ground. It was impactful, and so for me, it's just like, all right, let's see what's next.
Let's see what's next. So, what's on your agenda? We got spring is coming, it's almost here. We believe it's here now, but it's not.
Right.
Feel like it, you know what I mean?
We don't know if it's going to snow or we're going to have 70 degrees.
Or 70 degrees, 80 degrees, or below zero. We have no clue.
What is next? I'm currently working with the USDA, Department of Agriculture.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They, hopefully we get to meet them tomorrow to come to our garden. We need a water irrigation system in order to start growing vegetables for this coming spring. It takes so much work. I didn't realize how much work a garden takes, but they're going to come and help us, hopefully, to assist with funding. I believe Rutgers will be donating a rain barrel for us so that we can try to collect water.
Yes.
I'm trying to work on 2 classes, and it's the sign language for mommy and me. I'm trying to put that together right now. And I'm also trying to do some a program for elders in the community. I don't want to really say too much, and then it's going to come out somewhere else, right? Until it's done.
People are looking at it.
Right.
Sometimes you feel like you're building the V1 rocket, and everybody's trying to build.
Right.
Copy it or whatever.
Right. And it's not even about copying. If it will be a collective effort, it'd be great, right? Because then it's together we can do more and reach more people. So really just trying to get this together, getting our community garden on the map. And figuring out that's I think sort of 2 main things. The garden right now. And we're also trying to do the piano class. We're working with St. Andrew's Church right now.
That's wonderful, yes.
To be able to continue that program. It was a complete success last year. So those are the major things on my bucket list right now.
In terms of the garden, have you guys ventured in hydroponics? I believe I'm talking about.
Yes, sure. We're talking my language. When I went to Puerto Rico, I went to a complete hydroponic farm.
Oh wow!
And I took out a tour of it, and so I think that we will somehow try to figure out a way to incorporate that because it requires so much less. It's PVC pipes. You can grow lettuce on it. But we gotta figure out this rodent issues. That's a whole nother problem. I'm still tackling quality of life issues in this community.
Well, years ago we had a program. I think it was in Phoenix, Arizona, called the Biosphere. And the Biosphere program was, I think for 2 years or something like that, the people were supposed to be locked into this chamber, like if they're in space and actually live off of everything there. And I think that they really went with the hydroponics there and things of that nature, and stuff. I mean, they didn't last the whole 2 years.
2 years. I can imagine. I would love to figure out a way to incorporate that. It seems more sustainable than what we're trying to do. To fill a flower bed, right? We built these 4x4s with 2x2s in the front to fill that with soil. To do that, we could use one of those flower beds to do a whole hydroponic.
Without a doubt,
but I have a few things on my Instagram that I've been keeping posts to try to figure out like we can grow strawberries out of gutters. If you put the gutters in the gates and you do the same kind of thing, you can grow strawberries off of them.
Oh, wow.
And so I just been trying to...
I would love to see a picture of that.
Yeah. Well, I'll send it to you.
Yes.
And so I've been trying to figure out creative ways to use the space that we have.
Sure, sure.
And let's just not forget that still as the president of the association, we're still dealing with quality of life issues. We're still dealing with, dealing with abandoned homes. We're dealing with squatters, right now with the development that's happening, a lot of development that's happening. We're seeing a lot.
Every time you look up.
Listen, 2-family homes are going for $700,000 right now.
Easy, yes.
Okay? So, and doing that, that's now bringing different homeowners here. And with that being said, I'm going all the way left. Trying to figure out how we can incorporate them to help us.
Yes, and I'm sure that if you pay that kind of money for a home,
right,
that you will want to see this community, thrive without a doubt. And things like that. I mean, I kind of wish they would bring them homes down.
Right.
Money here
I feel like
for wherever,
Right. I mean, for the purchasing power that it's available with an average income median here is difficult. But a large part of what I do. Oh, I have one other thing. I'm also going to be speaking again at Lincoln Park School.
And where Lincoln Park School, downtown Newark?
Yep.
Okay. And what day are you doing that?
I have to figure out the exact date that it is. I did it last year.
All right.
They asked me to come and speak to the school in regards to what it is I do in the community.
Is it grade school or?
It's grade school.
Okay, I've never seen it.
Lincoln Park. Yep. So I'm going to be speaking there. Oh, and I'm getting an award. My first award.
Okay.
March 4th. Future is Female Award. By Empowerment Studios.
Okay. Send me.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'm grateful. It's my first award in the community.
Wow! Of all this work, this is the first award.
First award. I'm grateful. You don't do it for the awards.
Yes.
But I'm ecstatic that somebody is just like, you know what, you've done this.
But it feels good to be recognized for the work, and that's one thing that we come up short. We don't give the recognition to those that really is out here doing the work without a salary.
Right. Oh yeah.
Volunteer.
This is complete volunteer. This is complete.
It's not a job. It's volunteer.
Exactly. And then people are like, oh, Miss Cherry, she worked for the city. No, I don't work for the city. I'm right. I'm volunteering. And so, but yeah, so I do have that award coming up. I'm sorry, I forgot about it, but I didn't forget. I'm actually excited to do this, and
really excited for you.
Thank you.
Well, how would someone reach out to contact you?
So my email is info@ChristinaCherry.org. My community phone is 914-758-3306. Please be patient and kind. I am literally almost a one-person team. So when you reach out to me, just know that you're reaching me directly.
Sure.
You can reach me through my Facebook, Christina for Newark. Christina Cherry for Newark is my political page. Christina Cherry is my Facebook page. It's not that hard to find.
Okay. All right. Again, this is Zachariah Jackson.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.